Are you a beginner in Japanese who's been studying for months now, not knowing how to get better? Or you may be wondering, I really should be able to speak more by now. Well, guess what, guys? Today I prepared something very, very special for you. My name is Narron. I'm an interpreter here in Japan, and I teach Japanese online. I looked at all my students from the past 5 years and noticed that people who spoke fluent Japanese knew how and when to use these 8 secret phrases in real conversation. If you're excited about learning what kind of vocabulary fluent people know, stay with us because we're going to figure out what those words are and how to use them together. So grab a cup of coffee and let's get through this together. All right. So now, guys, you may be thinking, I'm so terrible at Japanese, but don't worry. Aristotle once said that excellence is not an act, but a habit. And since you're watching this video already, you're probably, actively trying to learn Japanese. So please be proud of yourself. But here's what you also need to understand. If you don't know the proper vocabulary, you're not really going to sound natural. Instead, you're going to sound like a dictionary. Guys, you can always learn on YouTube how to be a great dad, for instance, but if you don't know the exact words that your wife wants to hear from you when she's tired, well, she's probably going to tell her friends that you're such a nut job, right? And we don't want that when it comes to Japanese, all right? So please, through this video, let's, together learn the proper words so that you can sound more natural. So let's start with our first word. I quickly noticed that the vast majority of people that I taught and were successful understood how to respond properly in Japanese. And what do I mean? For instance, in English, when you're having a conversation and someone told you that, they just went to the movies last night, you're not going to just change the conversation there. Instead, you're going to say something like, oh, nice, or nice, did you go with your kids? These cushion words are very important when responding, but so many people do not know this. Right? So many people just skip this part. You're not going to go directly and be like, oh, and yeah, let's talk about that. You're going to be like, okay, that's great. And then you're going to change the conversation, right? So here are kind of the magic phrases. Here's what it looks like in real life. First, when someone gives you a statement, like I said, I just went to the movies. I just did a, you respond by saying,そうなんですか? そうなんですか? This means, wow, great. Or, really? I just went to the movies last night. You go, そうなんですか? My kid's into drawing crazy shit recently. そうなんですか? This is how you respond, right? And what if you wanted to go a little deeper? Well, another thing that you can say is, oh, I didn't know that, right? In this case, right? So we can say, 知らなかったです. 知らなかったです. If your kid's into that, crazy drawing thing, you're like, oh, great, but wow, I didn't know that. He's really big now. 知らなかったです. If you want to say, wow, that's amazing, you can change that to すごいですね. You can express your, being surprised that the son, your neighbor's son is getting bigger. You can be like, すごいですね. Right? This is how you respond to people. And once you start using these, you're not gonna freeze when people say things to you, and it won't become awkward anymore. Let's move on to the second thing that, successful Japanese learners know about. It's asking indirectly, not directly, okay? And I know that in a lot of Western countries, in Western culture in general, asking directly is the way to go. But in Japan, usually you want to go indirectly, okay? So here's what most of you are learning right now. You probably Google search these things. May I have a water? Where's the bathroom? It's in essence, how can I get something, right? You're only searching for the word. You're learning how to say the word. Well, slow down, Socrates, because you're not going to get anything until you master how to use them indirectly, okay? So instead of, I got to go to the bathroom, how about, oh, by the way, I'm enjoying this conversation, but do you know where the bathroom is? Sounds better, doesn't it? Right? It's much better. So here's our kind of writer downer, right? When a person is talking to you and you want to change the topic, here, like for example, go to the bathroom, right? You can say, by the way, where's the bathroom? And it sounds like this. そういえば、トイレはどこですか? So you're talking to this person and you can be like, そういえば, excuse me, sorry to change the topic, but トイレはどこですか? そういえば、トイレはどこですか? Another example is if the other person's talking about their son, who's like a teenager and who's into playing basketball recently, you can ask them, oh, speaking of, is he into the NBA, like watching NBA stuff? そういえば NBA は好きですか? Even in English, we don't just suddenly say, oh, where is something? Or do you like this thing? You always need to add, by the way, or like, like speaking of, right? And once you start adding these, you will definitely definitely sound more fluent. Now, I'm going to bring up something that's super important. You're learning all these phrases, but if you don't know how to even start a conversation, you're not going to be able to use these, right? So this is definitely something, successful learners understand, how to approach people and actually start a conversation. By now, you probably know how to ask, what's your favorite something, or how's your family? So I'm not going to talk about this in this video, but instead, let's learn how to integrate soft skills, people skills, into your sentences so that you can sound more natural when approaching people. So when starting a conversation, you should say mainly these two things. It's either ちょっといいですか? Or, it's ちょっといいですか? Or 今話せますか? And we say this before jumping into our topic. The first one, ちょっといいですか, means, can I have a minute with you? The second one means, can I talk to you for a moment? ちょっといいですか? And you say something, the topic. So, 今話せますか? And then the other person will be like, okay. And then you start talking. This is actually a great way to pause people, especially when you need to have a quick conversation. So instead of just walking up to your coworkers and talking to them, use these phrases, and the probability of them actually pausing for you will dramatically increase because they're going to start thinking, oh, this person's very polite. So definitely use them. And guys, you can always kind of mix these up. If you want to say, by the way, can I talk to you? You know how to say like, oh, speaking of, or by the way, and then ちょっといいですか, right? You can say, そういえばちょっといいですか? Like, speaking of, can I have a minute with you? You can kind of mix it like this. Or like, you might be talking about something and you can express how surprised you are by saying, hey, 知らなかったです. And also, oh, by the way, can I have a minute? So, 知らなかったです. そういえば今話せますか? You can say this, right? So don't just think, don't look at these and go like, oh, I can only use this in this situation. You can always mix these up. So that's kind of my advice for you, when it comes to actually using these phrases. And once you actually start using these 8 phrases that I taught you in this video, you're not going to just go from being nervous and not being able to talk to people to, starting a conversation with people. You're also going to have a real strong, foundation when it comes to like relationships at work or your friends, right? So please start using these phrases right now. You just finish watching this video and just like start using it today. It's going to help you in the long run, okay? But anyways, guys, that was Sean reporting from the Nagoya region. And if you have any comments about, oh, can I mix these two? And like, does that sound natural? Things like that, just ask me in the comments. I'll be very happy to answer them. And yeah, anyways, guys, comment anything and I'll talk to you in our next one. I really hope that through my videos, you're learning a lot. And I really hope that you're improving your Japanese every day. All right, guys, I'll talk to you in our next one. Bye-bye.